Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to service the bearings in your Campagnolo Zonda C17 rear wheel. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. Right, so here we have the rear wheel. So the first thing you want to do on the freehub side is get yourself a 5mm hex head Allen key and locate that in there, in the end, like that. And then with a 17mm spanner, the lock nut on the end there is anti-clockwise, is doing it up, and clockwise is undoing it, so it's opposite thread. So hold on to the Allen key and undo with the spanner like that. Crack that lock nut undone, obviously clockwise is undoing it. Once you've cracked it undone, then you can start unthreading it off like that. So get that removed off of there. Put that to one side, and then there's just a spacer in there that comes off like that, and then you can remove the freehub body off the axle like that. If you want to know how to change the bearings in the actual freehub body itself, these in there, then I'll put a link up on the screen for that. So you put that to one side, then you've got your axle there, and then what you need to do is on this side put your 5mm hex back in, then turn the wheel round to the opposite side, and with a 5mm on this side hold this side and then just undo this one, so it's anti-clockwise undoing it, this side normal thread. So you crack that one undone like that and remove that off the end. There's a little washer there as well, just be careful of that. So you put that to one side, and then what we need for the lock ring on the end there is a 3mm hex head for that. So we get one of those. Then what you want to do is undo that. So you locate that in there like that, then we'll undo that. So if you crack that undone so it's loose, then you should be able to undo that lock ring like that off of there. You just hold the axle the other side, and you can just unwind that off of there like so, and put that to one side. Then you can see the axle on this side. So if you push on that axle, so if it's a bit tight, what you can do is just get a soft blow hammer or mallet. Never use normal hammer, just use a soft blow one and just give that a tap through, and it will come out of the freehub side like that. If you can't push it out by hand, so you just remove the whole axle out and put that to one side for cleaning. And then you got your preload collar in there as well, just there, that'll come out. Just be careful of that in there. You've got that for the bearings in there, so you can get that out, put that to one side, and then you've got inside, you can see the bearings in there. You've got a dust shield over them there, the white coloured piece. So what you need to do is just carefully flick that out like so. So you got there, put that to one side, and then you've got the bearings themselves in here. So you just get hold of them, just carefully take them out like that. There's all the bearings on there in the cage. So put them to one side, and if you turn the wheel round, it'd be the same thing on this side, on where the freehub goes. Again, you've got the dust shield in there, just remove that. Then you've got your bearings in there, so you just get them out like that. There's your bearings in the race, in the cage. So now you've got an empty hub, so you can clean out all the old grease in there, both sides, wipe it all around, degrease that. And obviously degrease your axle and your other parts that came out of it. So the bearings come in a cage like that. Obviously you can purchase them complete in a cage like that if you need to, or obviously each individual ball bearing comes out of the cage, so you just get hold of it like that and just pull them out one by one. So you can buy obviously just replacement ball bearings, and if they're damaged in any way, any little bits missing off them, or the surface is going off them or anything like that, so just inspect them and make sure you inspect the preload collar as well for the bearings on there, and make sure that surface isn't pitted or damaged, and the same on your axle as well. Make sure you look at the axle on the other end, the collar on this end here, preload, make sure that's not damaged or anything or pitted. So you go ahead, clean all your parts up, and then we're ready to reinstall everything. Right, so once you've got everything cleaned up and you're ready to go ahead and put your bearings back in, what you want to do is get some grease and just put round, see where the bearings themselves are going to sit in there. Put that around there, like that. And then with your bearings themselves, if you got them like that, for instance, just get some grease and just work into the actual bearings themselves and cover them like that, so they're completely covered. Work that into there like that. Just wipe off too much of the excess. You don't need too much excess grease on there. Once you got it like that, we can go ahead, just put that in place. See, the flat area at the back goes in first, so sit that in, just drop it into place in there like so. And then what you want to do is get one of your seals, like that. Before you put it in, just go ahead and just put some grease over the top of the bearings, just to make sure they got enough over them like that before you go ahead and put the cover back over. So put that in place in there like that, and just push it into, sit it in place like that. You should just be able to knock it into place with your fingers easy. Just sits down in there like that. And then do the same for the other side. Again, get your grease, put your grease around where the bearings are going to sit themselves, and then again cover the bearings with the grease and sit them in like that. And then get your dust cover again, just pop that in. So once you've installed your bearings and your dust shields, then if you get your axle, making sure that you've got some grease over it, liberal amount of grease on it, and then make sure you've got some grease where the preload ring is as well, there, around there, and then slide it back through. See, this is the free hub side. Slide it back through into position like that, and just sit it in there. Turn your wheel back round, and then with your preload collar there, obviously it's in two parts, so make sure you got both of them like that together. Before you put that in, what I'll do is just get some grease and just put some grease around the outside of it before we put it in, and then put that back over your axle. Just hold the axle the other side and push that on to your axle and push it in into the centre of the bearing. So you just hold in the axle on the other side, freehub side, and just push this down just to locate it in there like that. And then with your collar, wind that on. So it's clockwise to do it up. Just spin that all the way on like that. Then hold your freehub side, do that up. So you just can't move anymore with your hand. And then lock it down with your 3mm hex head. Just do that up, just stop it coming undone. So you just do that up and pinch it up. And just nip that up just until it stops. And then obviously check your axle. If you hold on to your hub and then hold on the axle and just move it in and out, up and down like that, pulling on it, making sure also that it spins, but also make sure you can't feel any play in it at all while it's like this, because it would be exaggerated when it's on the bike and you check it. So if you just check that now, make sure the axle, you can't feel anything, and obviously that it's spinning. And what we'll do is go around to the freehub side, and then what you want to do is get your 5mm again, one in this side, so locate that in there, and then get your end cap there, what's going to go back in the end, and make sure that you put a little bit of grease in there on the threads, so you know it's going to come back off at a later date. So we just thread that in there, hold the other side. So this is clockwise to do it up, just get that started. Then get another 5mm just to nip it up. So hold the freehub side and just nip this side up like that, pinch it up. And then go back round to your freehub side. Make sure that you grease the axle, a liberal amount of grease over the axle, just on the thread on the end before you slide the freehub body on. Then you get your freehub body, slide that back on. They can be tricky to get in, obviously they go in so far and then they'll stop. What you got to do is turn it backwards at the same time as pushing it in. Turn it anti-clockwise as you're pushing it in. If you can't get it to engage, then just get a little screwdriver like that and just push on the pulls as you're pushing it in. Just push down on them one at a time. Once you push down on a couple of them, then it should click back in. So when you've done that, so you get your spacer on the end, just put that back in place on there, and then get your lock nut on the end, obviously anti-clockwise for doing it up on this one. Do that up, and then with your 5mm in the end again, get your 17mm spanner, just lock that up. Lock that down like that. And then obviously check that the wheel spins as it should. And then when you refit it to the bike, make sure that you refit the wheel, and then hold on to the rim and make sure you can't feel any play or anything in the rim So hold on to that, make sure you can't feel any play coming through the hub or anything like that before obviously you go and ride it on the road. But that's the bearings serviced. So if you found the video helpful, if you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.